Welcome. Thank you all for joining the May 2021 DECM for District 57. I am so excited. I'm Beth Bolhofer, your district director, and we have a great show lined up for you. Look, right now, please go ahead and rename yourself. We're going to do breakout rooms that are actually, you can join whichever one you want, but just for us and for our sanity, please rename yourself so that we can know who you are. Make sure that you put your district division number in the very beginning letter. So if you're an A, put A first and then your area level. So chairs, put your chair title. All right, so let's look at this packed agenda. We have so many guest speakers today, and all of it is very exciting except for one line item, which you may notice right here, which we need to talk about, but that's okay. We're not going to get down. We're going to have a really good time. Before we get going, let's talk about our mission. The district mission is to build new clubs and to support all clubs in achieving excellence. And I want us all to remember about the first day we joined a Toastmasters meeting. We walked in, and was it organized? Was it wonderful? Were we welcomed? Were we asked to join? Were we given information? And when we gave our icebreaker, did we have a wonderful, thoughtful evaluation that was constructive? Or did we walk into mayhem, chaos, people asking who is going to do what by when, right? We are setting the stage. We are here to create excellence. And I think the reason why all of us are here right now is because we probably walked into a great club. And those of you who have coached clubs that are not working, the people who are joining those clubs are probably not here because no one wants to join another disorganized organization. We already have that in our lives. So please remember that we're here to create excellence, create new clubs for brand new people who haven't even have been able to try Toastmasters, and then plus creating an excellent club experience. There's so many good things today. And I want to remind you all, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. That's why we're here. And where else can you learn in a positive learning environment? This is just, it's such a special and unique organization that we're part of. It's really precious. So I'm going to actually switch slides, and we're going to do something really fun right now. So I posted something in the chat. What's working this term? I want you guys to go ahead and use that link to share what's working so far. Let's do some self-reflection as we start this meeting. What is working? Is everyone able to see it?
In the chat, I don't see it.
Okay, let me post it again.
I see it, but it doesn't, it's not live.
Oh, it's not live? Okay. Thank you. All right. Do you guys now see it?
I was able to get into it.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. I'm posting
You
it.
just have to cut and paste.
Okay, yeah, I think because it doesn't have the HTTP in the beginning, you may have to cut and paste. So this week I did my second little presentation for high schoolers to talk to them about STEM and going to college. And all high schoolers on Zoom are like terrified. They do not talk. They do not put their video on. It's like a really big epidemic. So I found that using this kind of like little poll thing with a word cloud generator, it really lets them feel like they're being involved without too much pressure. So this is like a fun thing you guys can bring to your presentations. So are you guys able to enter things?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm just getting a few more responses and then I'm going to share it. All right, wow, this is amazing. All right, so I'm going to share this. And while I'm doing this, as much as it's fun for us, I think this is a really good example of what you guys can bring to your own presentations. So look at this, Zoom meetings, renewals, whoa. And it's fun because it changes and then you can take a picture of it and send it out to everyone. So members is the biggest thing. And that's what's working. Our members, we're connecting with the members who are excited. I think it's really important for us to remember that there's two kinds of people. There's people who are excited about change and trying new things and doing things that maybe are uncomfortable because they want to learn, the growth mindset. And then there's the people who are like, I can't change. I'm not going to learn anything new. I'm going to join back when things are done, when COVID's over and all things go back to normal, I will come back out of my cave. And I think we can't change the people who don't want to try new things, right? We just need to help empower the people who are going to try something new. They maybe have a business that's struggling during COVID, right? And they need to learn this skill. I know that Tong and I are part of a club, Oakland City Center, and we have people joining because they have to learn how to do this for their business. And you can tell they're struggling, but they're trying. And that's what's really, really important. So we're here to help those people learn. So I'm really excited that you guys are finding that the member is really empowering you and exciting you. So that's wonderful. So thank you guys for sharing. So now I want to talk about something so exciting. We have 2 winners. Our club officer training has come in and we have 2 winners of the 100% of officers trained. This is a really hard thing to win. So I want to welcome, if Winnie and Raul, if you guys are not too shy, maybe we can have everyone else turn off their video just for a second and we could just have Raul and Winnie come on screen to just tell us about their time doing this. And I hope that they were able to join this morning because I didn't tell them I was going to do this. All right, Winnie, talk to us about how did you get 100% of your officers trained again, because you did this earlier.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to share with you one key to help the clubs is persistent and follow up. That will really help. And if we don't have the persistence, we never know, and we have to be able to understand the others and then accommodate and help them. That's all I have.
Winnie, I heard persistence, helping, being accommodating. I am just really, really happy to hear that. It is a really hard job. I know that everyone probably really tried hard, and Donica is going to go over all the stats on club officer training. We did an amazing job. So I want everyone to just feel proud of themselves. And we have a whole time for that. One final thing from me before I turn over to the next presenter, and that is that dues are due. So dues are due. And, I think about, I come from a very religious background. My father's a pastor and he always passed the hat around. I always feel very uncomfortable about that kind of thing. But when you really think about the value of Toastmasters, like Michelle, you're on screen right now and everyone else can come back on screen now if you want to. Michelle, how much extra do you pay to be an area director for your dues? Just like, is it like,
We don't pay extra to be an area director.
What? You don't pay extra to be an area director? Okay, Cindy, do you pay extra to be a regional advisor?
I don't. I get the same value.
I can't believe this. This is so much value for such a low price. So when you really think about like coffee, how much we spend on coffee? I spend a lot on coffee, unfortunately. But you know what? We get so much value from Toastmasters. And if you think about getting a master's degree, any kind of college education, it's $20,000, $30,000. So this is a real place for value. So just remind your members of that. Dues are due, and it's just a huge value. And now I'm so excited. One of my members from my club, his name is Derek, and he's here to talk to us about what's working in open houses. And I love it because Sally Philman actually recruited him. I had nothing to do with it. Recruited him to come and actually talk to us. So I love it when people bring in more voices because that's what we need to do. So Derek, I will move your slides forward. So please, Derek fam, welcome. Woo!
Thank you, Ben. So fellow Toastmasters, Ben mentioned I'm the VP of Populations at Oakland City Center Toastmaster. And we had a great open house this past January. we had a lot of people showing up to our open house. And more importantly, a lot of those people that show up actually join our club. So today, I'm going to give you 3 tips of how to hold a great open house. And it all relates to what I call the 3 Ps. It's plan, publicize, and people. Now, planning for the open house is very important.
Next
What I
slide.
recommend is plan 2 months ahead of the open house. So the most important things to do with that is pick a date. Pick a date 2 months ahead of your open house. So that way you have a little bit of time to plan for the open house. And the second most important thing in the planning process is to pick a speaker. Now, in the past, what we've done is we asked someone experienced, like someone here, that would come and open up the open house and talk to new members. But actually, I think the better approach is to have someone that is new in your club, someone that just started in your club, because that person, when they speak, will relate more to the audience for the open house. Now, the second P that is important in planning is publicize. So publicize. Spread the word. Put it out to as many places as possible. Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on Meetup, whatever you can think of to spread the word. But what I found, the two methods that I found to be useful and getting people to come open house is, the first one is have your members, each one of your member, pass the flyer to 3 people that they know, because people always like personal invitation to an open house from someone that they know, so they're most likely to come to it. And the second one that I found was really helpful is send an email. Since we're in the digital age now, right? We're all on Zoom, so send an email out to former guests and former members that visited your club, that they know what your club is, they know what Toastmaster is. Those people are also likely to show up to the open house. And the last important thing, last and certainly not least, is people. People is what make open house great. And people, I mean your members, your member of your club. Those are the people that are best suited to advertise for your club. So when guests come to your open house, make sure that your members are friendly or helpful, inviting, because people like people that are friendly, nice, and helpful. So those are the 3 Ps, fellow Toastmasters, 3 Ps: plan, publicize, and people. So just use those 3 steps for your next open house. And I challenge you to do that. Bring people to Toastmaster, because we all know what a great Toastmaster is. So have that great open house and bring people to Toastmaster. So back to you, Ed.
Thank you, Derek. I'm so proud that Derek is from my club. And thank you so much for joining as a guest today to talk about what's working in open houses. Thank you, Sally, for recruiting Derek to come out. Thank you. And now for something completely different. Zoom bombings. Oh my gosh, this is not cool. This is not fun. And the people who are there, I've heard it's terrible. So Ed, we're trying really hard to get this information out. It's actually currently on the website, the District 57 website, and we got it up there pretty quickly. So Ed, can you tell us what can we do? And this is a lot of stuff on here, obviously. These slides are going to be all available for you. And you can even pass this link to this YouTube, which I'm going to post tomorrow, to your clubs to help them. So Ed, what can we do to prevent Zoom bombings? Well, you're on mute, Ed. You are so enthusiastic.
It is so Zoom. I've wasted 15 seconds. That we all want to be welcoming. We want our clubs to have guests. We want our guests, some of the guests, to turn into members. But we also want to be safe. And as you said, all of the things here in a different format are on d57tm.org, along with a lot of other wonderful stuff. I'm going to put up a number of other YouTubes. I'm not going to read this to you. You can read it on d57tm.org. But we want to be safe, and we want to establish ways to discourage people who want to Zoom bomb us, who want to sell us something or show us pornography or sell us pornography or do something else. We want to be welcoming, but we want to be safe. And that's a minute and 15 seconds. Go to the website and you will see some more links to YouTube's in the coming week. Thanks a lot and be safe, everyone.
Yeah, Ed, thank you so much for taking this really seriously. And George helped pull this list together. We take this very seriously. I know that I tend to be a very positive, upbeat person, but this is just not cool. And it's not, we need to stop this. So Ed, thank you so much for putting that information up. And now for something completely different, Cindy, can you go ahead and share your slides? And we are going to go to Cindy Laastch, our international Toastmasters International. This is not just District 57 or area, 57. That's not a real area. This is the District International Regional Advisor. And she's like our area director for districts. And she actually helps a lot of districts. She's wonderful. And she came here a few years ago now. And that's when we first got to see her. So I'm so excited for her. And she's going to talk about how to prioritize. So let's turn it over to Cindy Laastch.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to check, I am not on mute. Could you do me a favor? Could you upload the slides?
I can share them.
Okay, if you share them, then when I share my screen, I should be able to click ahead.
I think you just need to tell me,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll give you a clue. How about that?
I'm ready for that.
All right, so I'm looking at my time. What are your priorities? This is what we ask ourselves a lot. Remember, you're running a marathon, which is the entire year, but right now you're starting to run a sprint, which is to the close of the Toastmaster year. And I ask you, as you analyze yourself and your work, what are your priorities? This week at work, I had Toastmasters, I had life, and I got to tell you, I was running around like kind of a crazy person. So as you can see on the next slide, this is a picture of kind of what I looked like. I felt like I was running around with my hair on fire. I couldn't understand what to do next. I had competing priorities. I had work things. I had Toastmaster responsibilities. I had that life situations that I needed to do. And at times like this, when I feel like I'm running around with my hair on fire, I have to stop myself and say, Cindy, take a breath. Let's calm down. Now, looking at the next slide, I kind of did a brainstorm of how do we manage our priorities? And I just wrote down a couple. We write to-do lists. Some of us use OneNote. Some of us use the Post-it note theory. Some use your memory, which I find is getting more and more difficult to keep all those plates spinning. If somebody could put in chat, what are ways you manage your priorities? How do you find you manage your work duties, your Toastmaster, district leadership duties? How are you doing that right now in this world you're in? What are we seeing in chat? Lists, love lists. I find just writing the list to be incredibly rewarding, right? To-do lists and calendars, interesting, right? I have on my to-do list to clean my closet. It's been on there for 3 years. I think I need to move it over to my calendar as a to-do item. So what else do we have? Time blocking, I love that. You must respect your time. Look at how you manage your priorities. And I'm just going to say, let's focus on Toastmaster priorities for this presentation. How are you managing your priorities, which kicks into how do you manage your time? And are you being effective? Or there are times like I do, you feel like your hair's on fire. So think about the process you use personally to manage your priorities and how is that working for you? Sometimes I know we can all feel lost. So I don't know if you see this picture on the next slide, but have you ever been in this place? I'm sort of at the intersection this week. I was at the intersection of disoriented and bewildered because I had job duties that were put upon me that I didn't know how to do. Sometimes we're in that, it's unclear. I don't know what to do. I think I'm perplexed. Is it confusing? Is it unsure? And then it all leads to that place I hate being, which is lost. And I know for myself, when I don't have clarity on where are my resources to do the role I'm doing, work or Toastmasters, who are the people that are there to support and help me, I can feel lost. I can feel confused. I can feel overwhelmed. I think you've all heard of fight or flight, right? There's the people that fight and there's flight. Sometimes when people get in this predicament, they fight, meaning they're gonna figure it out. They might lose their temper. Then there's the people that flee, that say, I'm quitting, I'm out of here. I can't stand this. This is too hard. I've realized I'm another combination, which is called freeze. So for me, freezing means I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna hide in plain sight while I try to figure out my priorities and where I'm going. And then when I figure it out, I'm going to come back online. So when I find I'm at this street sign, which I've been here many times, I try to look for where am I going? What's my roadmap, right? I want to pull out that GPS that's going to get me to the right place, especially when I'm serving on the deck. And on this next slide, you're going to see here is a roadmap. This is your roadmap. And on the bottom, I also said it's your measuring stick too. So what I want to talk about is who here can raise their hand in the Zoom window that says they feel they are an expert at how to read the dashboard. Okay, I see Lindy is. I see, who else? I see Linda is. Oh, I saw a thumb go by real quick. I'm looking on multiple screens here. Carolyn. All right. Do you share that gift with other people who might not know? Do you know other people might not know? So what I'm going to ask you to do is think of this place on Toastmasters.org as both your roadmap and your measuring stick. So I want to take a few seconds to talk about how is this a roadmap? Roadmaps are places, now I'm from the olden days. We used to have paper maps that we could open up and look at, right? And they were kept in your glove box. Did you ever have gloves in that part of your car? I didn't, but we had paper maps. Then we went to, the GPS, and then we went to our phone, and it's much easier now. But we always need direction. This data is the direction. I am not by nature a data-driven person. I will admit that. I work in IT at a company in Milwaukee called Harley-Davidson. And what I learned over time is if you don't have the data, everyone's an expert. So I want to say that again. If you don't have the data, everyone's an expert. How did I learn that in Toastmasters? I learned that when I was an area governor. I'm dating myself. I loved being an area governor. I was close to the clubs and I was connected to the trio, and I was that connective tissue that kept it going. What I figured out early on is I don't have a roadmap for how to be successful. And then somebody said, are you checking the dashboard? And I said, no. And that was when I stepped into this magic world of data and dashboard. This tells me everything I need to know. It is the street sign that tells me how to get to that successful place. And I look at this once again as 3 quick buckets. Paid clubs means how many clubs are in our district? They come and they go. How many do we have? Payments, not paid members. Payments. Every member that's in one club is worth how many payments? 2, right? We have some members in District 35 where I'm at who are in 8 clubs. 8 times 2 is 16, right? So payments drives your member experience. How many people that are currently Toastmasters want to stay? That's how you measure it. And then distinguished clubs, we're going to get there. You see it's 0, but it's going to score. And you're going to be able to look at these 3 buckets of data together to help you determine, am I tracking the success in my mission? The other thing I think this is a measuring stick. Think about a ruler. When you use a ruler to measure wood, the measuring stick is not judging the wood. And I compare that to the Distinguished Club program. The Distinguished Club program doesn't judge your club, your area, or your club, how it's functioning. What it does is it gives you this data-driven measuring stick to measure how successful you are doing as an area, as a division, and as a district. And it also gives you the data to drive you to continue to move forward with that information. Let's check out the next image. As you look at your priorities, the data, your family, the other organizations you're in, this quadrant, if you don't have it or you haven't seen some variant of it, was crucial to me. When we were in the office at Harley-Davidson, this was prominently featured right in front of my computer. And when I had competing priorities and I couldn't figure out which one was most important, I would literally look at this quadrant and say, okay, is it urgent and important? That to me is the building on fire? Are my area director reports due soon? Are my meeting notes due soon? That's urgent and important. Now let's move over to number 2. It's important, but it's not urgent. That might be, I need to take some time to plan my work tomorrow. I need to call my mom. It's important, and it's usually other people's importance. The other, number 3, is it's urgent, but it's not important. Email, Skype, Teams, chat, YouTube, the internet, urgent, but not important. And then number 4, and I like this, number 4 gets the double thumbs down. It's not urgent and it's not important. But guess where a lot of people spend a lot of their time? Number 4. Because it's fun, it's shiny, it's what I like to do. As you look at your work, as you prioritize your work in your district role, I use this quadrant to tell me, Cindy, if I can't figure it out, what do I need to do? I mentioned I had a bad week. I wanted to give you a visual. Here's how I prioritize my work this week. This is a pile of Post-it notes and email and folders and things that I need to do for both work and Toastmasters. And this is the funniest one. I was eating lunch and I had a paper napkin on my desk. And somebody in a meeting said something and I actually wrote the notes on this paper napkin heap later. This was not a healthy way to prioritize my work. I needed to use my quadrant. I needed to realize out of this bucket, what are the most important things? And this grid and prioritizing helps you understand, what are my most important things? What do I need to focus on? Let's look at the image on the next slide. This resonates with me because I've been here, right? I call this the whirlwind. The whirlwind is your day job. It's, you got to get the kids up. You got to feed people. You got to put in your timesheet. You've got to do your work. That's the whirlwind. You've got to do your Toastmaster work. We're always going to have the whirlwind. It's called our day job, right? What I say is, what are your MITs? What are your most important things? And every day I take a fluorescent pink Post-it note and I put MIT along the top. And I write 2 to 3 things that I must finish today, regardless of the whirlwind. The whirlwind will keep spinning. I will still have to do that. I will have to run the errands, get the food, but my MITs are my most important things. And very often my Toastmaster work is my most important thing on that day. So consider how you move from this pile of paper napkins on your desk to a streamlined, effective way of understanding, what are my most important things? How do I prioritize my work as a Toastmaster to finish the sprint and deliver this experience? And let's finish up with looking at the next image. We've all been here. We've all been here. It's called a teeter-totter. It's called a seesaw. Either way, it seeks balance. And what I want you to do as you're looking at your role as a parent, as a partner, as a Toastmaster functionary, as a human, seek the balance. Find the balance in your life. Focus on the people that are important to you, whether that's your family, your Toastmaster family. And when you have that focus, measure your performance with the data. Remember the dashboard. Remember the other ways you can measure with data. Because if you don't really know where you're going. And then live your relationships. Enjoy these relationships. They can be life-changing when you're in these roles. And remember your most important things. That could be family meals, time with your partner. It could be whatever is most important to you at the time. And remember, this is your year. You're here to serve the district and your members. So let's all prioritize and run the rest of this sprint. Bet.
Wow, you really delivered. I had very high expectations and that was just amazing. I loved it. I loved it. Very memorable and just very, very exciting. So thank you so much. If there's questions, please post them in the chat and hopefully Cindy can look at them. I don't know how long you can stay today because you may have another district to go speak to. But next we're going to go to Linda Patton. So thank you so much, Cindy. Please, just, wow, just so great. Now let's go to something completely different. This is just going to be my theme for each and every one of them. Finances. Finances are also very important. So let me turn it over to Linda.
Okay, and if you can advance, that'd be great. Okay, so this is January. I realize that we're in March, but we're always at least a month behind. We brought in more money than we budgeted in dues revenue, and that is awesome. And I think our incentives helped with that. But however, we did spend a little bit more money than we brought in this month. We are still, our budget is way over our, what we, as far as our variance is concerned. We have a fair amount of money that will be coming in, and it will cover everything that we are planning for you all to spend money on. So Beth, the next slide, please. I love looking actually at where are we based on the year. So from July to January 31st, we brought in $3,000 more than we had budgeted. And this is awesome. This is from new clubs. It's from encouraging people to renew. It's having people renew earlier. It's awesome. We are doing a great job here. As we are in keeping our expenses relatively low at this point. We had budgeted almost $25,000 and we've only spent $8,000. So at the moment we are $20,000 to the good as far as money that's there. So there will be more expenses coming in soon, I do believe, especially from the clubs as they begin to spend their district bucks. Next slide, please. Okay, so I've been asked, what do we spend money on? So here we go. And please, in your calendar, put June 1st, last day to submit concur expenses, please. That way we can ensure that you all get paid before June 30th, which is the close of our fiscal year. District bucks go away on July 1st. So things you can get: cameras, microphones, computers, Facebook ads, MailChimp, and other all-in-one integrated marketing platforms. Thank you cards, not gift cards. Flowers, Toastmasters gift cards, gifts for speakers. I recently spoke at a club. They wanted to give me a thank you gift, and it started out with a gift card. And I wrote back and I said, I'm sorry, I can't accept this, but however, if you want to use that to buy me some tea, I would love it. So that's what they're doing. So ask your speakers what they'd like: tea, chocolates, coffee, whatever it might be, a book, gifts up to $25, journals, pads, totes, pens, all Toastmasters products, Toastmasters gift certificates, and even registration at the conference. Next, what you can't buy. You can't collect district bucks incentives without a purchase. I had one club send me, it was beautifully done and everything else, but basically they were claiming their incentives from district bucks. You can't do that. You must purchase something. Other things you can't buy, obviously, are donations of money or goods to charities, corporate donations, anything like that. You can't pay speakers, no alcohol, and one more time, no gift cards. And I believe that's all I have, Beth.
Yes, thank you so much, Linda. And now for something not so different, let's talk about the audit.
Yay!
there's all these things that are happening behind the scenes that when you're a new member or you're even an area director, sometimes you don't know about them, but they're actually very important. So it's been a pleasure to work with Danielle, our audit chair. So I'm going to turn it over to her to talk to us about the mid-year audit report. Danielle. You're on mute. As usual. You're still on mute. Can you guys hear her?
We'll try this again. Good
All right,
morning.
There you go.
This was actually the best audit experience to date.
Woo!
And I wasn't sure that it was going to happen because we did the audit via Zoom. And it couldn't have happened without Bet and Linda and the wonderful committee members that worked with me, Sarah Mai, Ian Marsh, and Gagenberg Carr. We actually met twice on January 30th and again on February 6th in order to complete the audit. And per the Toastmasters International Audit Committee guidelines, we examined all the records from July 1st through December 30th for accuracy, appropriateness, proper internal control, and authorization. And in our opinion, the records present the financial position of District 57 fairly and are in conformity with the requirements of Toastmasters International. So all the materials and audit notes were delivered to TI World headquarters ahead of schedule on February 8th. And we were delighted to be able to achieve that for the district.
Danielle, thank you for your detailed analysis. And let me tell you, she created this agenda for the audit that was like, I don't know, it was so detailed. I was really impressed. And just working with the team was a pleasure. Seeing Goggenbeer again was a pleasure. She was our finance manager last year. So I think the baby made several appearances. It just a great, how can you have an audit that's fun? You have it in Toastmasters. So thank you so much, Danielle. Really appreciate it. And now for something completely different, let's go to our previous immediate, no. What do you call yourself? The previous?
Previous.
The previous. Diane Place, DTM. I am so pleased to be working with Diane, which I had to work very hard. Do you know how many thank you cards I had to write to Diane to get her to agree to this? It was a lot, okay? Thank you cards work. So please welcome her. She is already in the midst of running the Alignment Committee. Diane, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Beth. It's so nice to be here. I am impressed with how this meeting is going and the caliber of the quality. Wonderful to be back. Let's talk about realignment. First of all, our committee members, Terry Boudreau, Todd Henry, Steve Today, and myself have been meeting to look at our clubs within their areas and their divisions. If we go to the next slide, you can see what our strategy was. We started off, first of all, by looking at the clubs that will not be continuing. Then we added in new clubs. Then we looked at the equity or the parity. We did not want any area to have less than 3 clubs or more than 6. So our sweet spot is between that 3 and 6. I guess you could say ideally 4 to 5 clubs per area. Then we looked at that mix of clubs. We started off initially geographically because at some point in time we could go back to that. And then we also looked at other things such as corporate versus open clubs, day of week, time of day, trying to get the best mix possible. And another element there too is the strong club versus not so strong, which comes into play when we have contests. So we tried to consider all of those things. The following slide shows some of the comments and considerations that we took into consideration. The first one, and this is key, is that our recommendations are a snapshot in time. We have some concerns still about some clubs. We know that some of the area directors and people are working very hard. We'll have to wait until after the dues are due in the beginning of April to see how that turns out. So our final recommendation at the May business meeting could be a tad different than what we're seeing today because of that. We know that COVID has affected clubs. Some clubs have thrived and are doing extremely well, and other clubs, it has been devastating to them, and that is what has caused their demise. George Marshall put together this handy dandy interactive map for us that showed the areas, everything was color coded. It was enormously helpful. When we looked at it overall, again, we looked at it and we said, if an area is working and there aren't any changes, let's leave it as is. Then other areas, we knew we had to make adjustments. So we consulted with the area directors and the division directors to get their input. Today, we also look for your input and support. Now, when I looked at the April DECM, I thought, oh, this is going to align very well. But then I was reminded that Toastmasters International takes a few days, probably a week to 10 days before all of the payments are accounted for. So we probably won't get that final tally until about April 10th. So after that point, we'll have the final recommendation. And of course, this realignment will be presented at our business meeting on May 1st. So let's get into the nitty-gritty details. If we look at Division A, basically we lost one club and we gained one club, and that's the Food and Drug Administration, which is an online club. If we look at Division B, and I'll ask that you allow me time to go through all of our 9 divisions, and then we'll use the remaining time for questions and whatever is needed. And I'm happy to stay after or chat at another time and schedule a time. In Division B, we lost a couple of clubs, and we did a little rearrangement, mainly because area B27 would have brought it down below what we would have liked. So they lost a club, we added a club, so it remains at no net change. If we go to our next 2 divisions, C and D, you can see that Division C, again, we had no net change within the division. Autodesk is a corporate club that has been added, and we did lose Wine Country. If we look at Division D, we had 2 clubs that we lost and 1 that we gained. And our mix of clubs is basically 4 to 5 clubs per area. Going to the next 2 divisions, Division E, we lost 1 club, West County. And I'll have to share something a little bit interesting here. Thank goodness I proofread this, because we also lost a club called Wine Country, and West County became Wine Country when I was doing this a little too late. But fortunately, we did see that. When we go to Division F, we have another online club that has been added, Capio Masters. Let's go to Division, or let's talk about, yes, Division G. That's where we do have some more significant changes. The recommendation is for areas G, 10, and 11, and those are the ones that are in the most northern part of our district. They're up in Eureka. They have 3 clubs per area, and a couple of those clubs have coaches. They've struggled. The recommendation is to combine those 2 areas into 1 area, thus making it 6 clubs and having an assistant director. It seems to be more manageable. With area G25, we'd like to move that Noon Toastmaster Club to another area to give it 5. And then our area G31 would be no net change with that addition and subtraction in there. Again, we're looking for some equity and parity between the clubs. So those are the recommended changes for G. For H, we have no changes so far. We have a couple of clubs that are right on the borderline that could have, could come through with a couple more members, or we may have some changes here, but right now that's what we're seeing. Then with Division I, we do have some significant changes here. Mainly, let's start with area I-33. We will be losing Lamb Research after a lot of effort. The recommendation by Kate and her crew is that we move the remaining 3 clubs to the other areas. And that would give the other 3 clubs or 3 areas 5 clubs each. And the distribution is again what the recommendation was. I believe we have a minute or 2 left. With that, I welcome any questions, or please put in the chat specifics, and I'm happy to address that individually and go in depth.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Diane. I can tell this is, again, very detailed work. And I think that the approach that you're doing is really important. I just want to say a few quick things. This whole thing is going to be implemented on July 1st. So it doesn't take effect until then. So it's really important to realize that. I think a lot of basic questions like, well, is this happening today? So all the plans are not going to start until July 1st. And it's really to keep things fair so that area directors don't have too little clubs or too many clubs to work with, and also to have a nice balance, area contests and things like that. So just a few basic things that I know when I first got into this whole thing, I didn't understand. Are there any other, we have 1 minute for questions. Any other questions about like, why is realignment happening? Why do we do this? Any kind of basic, no question is too silly. Donica, I see a hand.
Thank you, Bet. Diane, are we taking into account people that aren't able to go back to work and not able to have their clubs via Zoom? They don't use Zoom. Are we going to look at once we're back in office, hybrid?
That's an excellent question. I think that's to be determined, and probably each club will decide what works best for them. I think we'll see a lot of hybrids, whether that is meeting in person with doing Zoom for people that don't come in, or whether that's 1 week a in-person meeting and the next week a Zoom meeting, is probably to be determined by club. The district or maybe international will have some guidelines there. Right now, we don't have anything definite. I also should mention we have a couple of new clubs in progress and some that are very close to launching, but not quite there. So they are not in here yet, but hopefully we'll see them by April.
All right. Thank you so much, Diane. I really appreciate all the hard work. It's really great. So if you have comments, questions, now is your time to give feedback on this, because this is the time to talk about it. So let's not right now, but I mean in this period of time. So thank you so much. And now let's go to Lindy Sinclair. Lindy is going to talk about Pathways and what do we need to know as area directors.
Thank you, Bet. And can I share screen? Can I pull up my slides?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing I want to go over with the area directors so that we are all talking the same language is the Pathways Glossary. I keep finding that people are concertinaing the word pathways and the word path. And so I would like to make it clear that it is different. So my slides are not moving forward. How do I move them forward? Just a second while I figure out. Here we go. Can you see the second one now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So Pathways is our alma mater. Pathways is Toastmasters University, if you like. Whereas Path is your major. So dynamic leadership, effective coaching, engaging humor, that's your major. And the levels are 1 of 5 courses in your major. So each level is a course in your major. And a project is a project. What do you know? Something simple. So that's very nice and easy. So now that we are all talking the same language, let me backtrack and say that this slide deck will be available to anybody, particularly area directors, who request it from me. So you'll be able to show this to your clubs. Okay, where to find it? The list of all paths with every item in them is on the Pathways Learning Zone on the district website. So anybody can go and look ahead and see what's coming up in their path, or if they want to choose a new path, what's in that path, by going to the Pathways Learning Zone on d57tm.org. It's a very busy page. I've got to tell you, there's a lot of information there, so you may have to scroll down, but I promise you it's there, worth looking for. And your curriculum is on toastmasters.org, and it's easier than ever to get there now. Fortunately, toastmasters.org keeps making wonderful adjustments to Pathways to make it easier. So now you do not have to click on Basecamp. Now you just log in at toastmasters.org. When you log in, you'll see your name appear in the banner. Click on your name and you'll be able to go directly to your path. So that's a real nice, that will be coming up in my next webinar about shortcuts in Pathways. And finally, evaluations. They're easiest to find if you are a club that has a Free Toast Toast website, because when you put your project on the agenda in a Free Toast Toast website, whoosh, like magic, your evaluation appears. Now, if you don't have a club that has a Free Toast Toast website, you can, of course, find evaluations on toastmasters.org. Finally, get your free path. This is so important for every individual in the district, in Toastmasters world, actually, that if you were a member prior to the current dues period, we are in the October through March period. So you had to have been a member prior to that and renewed for October through March before December 31st. You paid your renewal dues for this term that we're in by December 31st. Then you are entitled to another free path. Everybody got a free path anyway when Pathways came online. So now you can get another free path, but you have to do it by March 31st. And I want to let you know that you will be going through the process just as if you were purchasing a path. And then at the very last moment, you will see that there's a discount that's entirely equivalent to the cost of the path. So do not lose hope as you go through the process. It looks as though you're going to have to pay for it, but you will not have to pay for it. And my last slide is, you can have this slide deck to show to your clubs if you will email me and request it. So my email address is there, lindy@lindysinclair.com. And I do want to remind everybody about the webinars that I've been giving. So in December, we did Vanquishing the Pathways Blues, getting over the hurdles that were Pathways. And in February, we did the nitty-gritty of Pathways, getting into the details. On April 1st, on April Fool's Day, so easy to remember, we will be getting into legal shortcuts in Pathways. So please join me then. You can find all the details on how to register by going to the calendar on d57tm.org. That concludes the formal presentation, but I have lots of time left if there are, in fact, questions. Are there any questions?
I'm so curious about the legal shortcuts. I'm going to have to attend and learn about it.
Don't want to give them any illegal shortcuts.
No, definitely not.
Lindy, can you go over the last thing that you covered? I missed that.
Let's see, what was the last thing about the free?
The free something.
Huh? The free path?
Oh, the free path. Okay.
You'd like me to go over that one?
Yeah, you were saying something like it would be confusing, that you weren't sure it was free, but it was free. Can you go over what that?
You go as if you are purchasing a path. You do everything the same as if you are purchasing a path, and it looks as though you're going to have to pay for it. And then at the very last moment, you get the discount that is equal to the cost of the path. So just don't lose hope when you're going through the process. It will be discounted so that it's free.
Okay, great. And then do you have any support for us figuring out in our clubs which members are eligible but have not retrieved it yet? Is there any automated support for that?
I don't know the answer to that. And of course, the easiest way would be to ask, but people don't always remember. I think, let me think on that and I'll get back to you. Who's speaking, by the way?
This is Cynthia Stott.
Cynthia. Okay, I thought I recognized your voice, but I wasn't sure.
Sorry.
Let me think about it and see if I can think of any way we could actually know who was eligible.
I think I could add something.
Who's speaking?
This is Vicky Hubbard.
Yes, please, Vicky, go ahead.
I think that it's important to ask any of your club officers if they can see how long, if they just look, if they go to Toastmasters International and they look at the roster, it tells you exactly when the member joined. And like you said, as long as they joined before October 1st, I believe you said.
Thank you, Vicky. I think that's no longer true. It used to be that you could see when people joined on the roster, and I don't think that is currently true. Does anybody know with certainty? But I think they dropped that off the rosters.
The most recent roster that I saw that Bet gave me the link to had that information.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Vicky, then for that very good idea. So yes, officers can do that. Cynthia, did you get that?
Yeah, and leaders worldwide is a little more complicated because some people joined heart to heart previously and were continuing members and some were not. So yeah, that's
if you're talking about transfers, they belong to the club they transferred from until the end of that period.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So we are pretty much out of time. So let's continue doing questions inside of chat. Lindy's not going anywhere, I hope. So please put the questions in the chat and Lindy can make sure she gets them all. Lindy, if you send me your slides, I'll drop them in the master deck. And then tomorrow when I publish online, I'll include the slides. Lindy, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And now I'm so excited. Donica is going to share club officer stats, which we knocked out of the park, didn't we, Donica?
We absolutely did. Thank you, Bet. On the next slide, you're going to see that we hit great numbers. For the summer training, which was last year, so long ago, we hit 74% of officers trained. And in the midst of Zoom, we got 71.5%. Interestingly, we still are having numbers roll in. So this could roll up to 72, 73, maybe even 74%. Very exciting. An interesting thing too was that almost 20% of officers that we trained were from other districts. How neat is that? That people love D57 so much that they feel that we offer such amazing training, they came to ours. Luckily, because of Zoom, we didn't have to turn anyone away at our doors like we would have had to in the past. On the next slide, you'll be able to see some final results. As I said, again, there were some trainings that happened on the 27th, 28th, just at that cutoff line that George is still tracking. 974 officer roles were filled, and you can see 710 of our officers were trained. Some officers do hold multiple roles, and that's okay. That 71% is record-breaking. I happen to hear from George that normal is 65 to 70. Because we had 71.5 and 74, both our trainings off the rocket. On the next slide, you'll be able to see a little bit more detailed by officer roles. It makes sense that the president and the VPE were top heavy that way because they're the people that have the most to learn in a sense, because they're the ones that are the face of the clubs. Not that everyone else isn't just as important, but they're the ones that really have to know what they're doing up front. On the next slide, you'll be able to see specifically. Unfortunately, we had 25 clubs that didn't send any officers. Hopefully that'll change. Maybe they weren't available and they were able to train on the 27th or 28th. But thanks to our training gurus, our marketing gurus, our advertising gurus, George, Ed Cullen, and Lisa Fairchild, we had 47 clubs that trained all of their officers. Great job. Now, this is also thanks to the division directors and the area directors and all of the club officers who encouraged their colleagues to attend. This is amazing. Now, drum roll, please. Beth, the next slide. These are the clubs that trained 7 of 7 officers. And this looks like a lot. It rolls over to the next page. There were so many, 47. And luckily, we only missed that. And we had some clubs that had 6 officers trained. They may be on this list after all the numbers roll up. One thing that Beth stole the thunder a little bit, but thank you for doing that. No, go ahead, Beth. That we had 2 areas that all of their officers trained from all their clubs. Great job to Winnie and Rahul. That's great. And just a special shout out to Winnie. In the summer training, she also had 7 of 7 clubs. Woo! Winnie, I think that you're going to need to give a master class on how you encourage and show how important it is for training so that we can all do this next year. On the next slide, excuse me, recommendations for next year. Jasper Vassar has put together some amazing things he's going to be sharing with the trio, hopefully with everyone, about some things that he thinks could really pump up our numbers, pump up our trainers, and really increase the number of engagement scores that we have. Coordinate the TLI and makeup trainings. This was the first year that I stepped in and helped as the division makeup training chair, partnering very, very closely with Lisa, who is the TLI dean. That helped a lot because we could really see what the timing made sense. If we did this in January versus doing it in December, we could really align to make sure that we weren't overlapping too much. Because of the contest being a little bit earlier this year, there was a lot of competition and fighting for volunteers. We're hoping that we can address that next year so that everyone's just not left holding the bag. You can see this second slide. These are in the main deck. You can see that dip between the 13th and the 15th right there. Look at how many people registered after that. This is the amount of registrations. I'd like to give all the credit to Ed Cullen for this. He personally reached out to like 800 people and said, hi, Bet, hi, George, hi, Diane. I see you haven't registered yet. He sent text mails with Lisa. They partnered up. It was amazing. I think that all of this success falls on Ed, and I am going to pie out of my personal pocket gift cards for Ed Cullen. Woo!
No gift cards.
No, it's coming out of my old. I'm buying him. I'm just sending him my credit card. The last thing, the recruit and supporting trainers early. This was again one of Jasper's recommendations. Is consider having train the club officer training sessions. We saw that a lot of people that went to the train the trainers didn't have any interest in being a club officer trainer, and that's an opportunity that we can see to help really build up the confidence of people. Maybe those people that volunteer at the makeup training can then grow on to be TLI, the official training thing. One more slide, Bet. This is a thank you. Thank you to Ed and Lisa for all they did with the Eventbrites. I think that they both have master's degrees in Eventbrites. Bet, I'd like you to recommend to whomever the leaders are next year that we have master classes in Eventbrite, master classes in Zoom registration, how to get these emails out on MailChimp. It was amazing. Thank you to all the division directors and training chairs who helped put together the makeup trainings. all the trainers that stepped forward. It was really helpful. Thank you. And of course, our other volunteers, the tech hosts, the room monitors, all the people that supported, all the area directors that really helped push and push and push to make sure that they had all of their club officers trained. It was a huge success. Thank you to everyone. Back to you, Bet.
So much energy, Donica. That was beautiful. And thank you so much for coordinating all of the cats that had to be herded to get them all in line. And just incredible. I saw those numbers come in and I was just like blown away. But I am just ridiculously thankful. Ed, thank you so much. That Ed is so proud of that curve. Like he's been showing that on every one of our trio meetings. Like, look at this curve, this graph. So that was beautiful, Ed. Great job. Let's now go to our district bucks, an awards chair. And that's Abe. Abe, tell us how we're doing with our district bucks program.
We are doing fantastic. Division and area directors, as Beth said, do not ask what the district can do for you, but ask what you can do for the district. And your clubs did a fantastic job. Let's go to the next slide. You guys, your clubs did an amazing job, and now the district is willing to give back to you. As Donna said, 47 clubs had 7 of 7 officers trained this winter. That is an amazing number. Thank you very much. We had 8 clubs that had at least 8 dues payments. Good job for those. We had 9 clubs that had 20 or more verified renewals. This is also amazing. And when I looked at the charts, there were several clubs that had over 30 renewals. That is great. So thank you for doing that. And we are having some additional open houses that are being qualified as we speak. So I think the numbers will go up higher because we'll have probably at least 6 or more open houses that will add, will give you district bucks for.
Over
So
40 open houses qualified so far. Sorry.
40,
Over
all
40.
right. All right, does the district have enough money, Bet? Okay, we'll find out.
Oh, yeah, we have enough money, just waiting for people to spend it.
Well, they're doing.
I don't want to leave any of that money on the table.
That's right. They're getting the money, but so far they're not spending it. So we need to figure out how to spend it before July, June 1st, 30th.
June 1st.
June 1st. Okay. Thank you. So there's a lot of money in those bucks in your accounts. So go ahead and tell your club officers to start spending it. They can send the money to me. I'm retired, so I need a couple extra bucks. So, you know, if you can't spend it by June 1st, you know where you can send it. I'm sorry. That's bad, Bet.
Everyone, all these unethical things, Donica's buying cards out of her own. Come on, guys. Just be recorded.
All right, next slide. Who earned the most district bucks in District 57? So I'm going to go in the reverse direction of a contest and start with the gold medal. Heart to Heart. They earned 285 district bucks so far. We have a tie for silver medal. Toastmasters Leadership Club and City Speech Toastmasters both earned 265 district bucks. Great job. And the bronze medal goes to Andish. How do you say that? Andishesh Toastmasters Club with 220 district bucks. So keep working hard, division directors, area directors. You know your clubs are doing great, but keep pushing them to do even better. because there's plenty of money in the bucket for you. Thank you very much, Bet.
Abe, thank you so much. So much energy. I am just impressed by how much energy everyone has. Everyone must have had their coffee this morning. Very, very impressive. I want to just remind everyone how this District Bucks thing is working. We get 25% of every 750 back. I know the math gets really complicated, but basically we get this money back from TI and we need to spend it to help the clubs. We come up with the incentives, the trio, and then we publish those. When you earn District Bucks, you're getting back money that you earned. You owe, that money is yours. So if your clubs are not earning that money, you're wasting it. Wow, there's a lot of fun stuff going over in Steve's
Bet. I want to remind
Yes.
people
Yes.
that go to the District 57 Toastmasters website in the awards and incentive page, and you will see we added 14 additional incentives. So make sure your clubs are aware of that. There are also individual incentives for club members. So get the message out. Thank you.
Yes, please, area directors, don't leave money on the table. This is your money. Your clubs can earn it. It's just for them. So please do what you can to get people to get the money. All right. And now speaking about the money, Sharon Brown is here and Steve is joining from a ski lodge, but I think Sharon's going to be our speaker today. So Sharon Brown, I'm so delighted to have you as our co-conference chair. Tell us about the conference.
Oh, we are so excited because things are cooking. We just started the planning, but we're meeting every Wednesday to talk about it. And the time we have of 8 o'clock is the start time. We don't have an end time because we sent out a survey to try to get feedback from members, but we'll get that next week. Since it's an online meeting, we want this to be a fantastic meeting with great speakers, interesting topics, and we want us to have a get to know you networking, crazy games, as well as exciting events. So we are taking this step by step because we wanted to plan out perfectly. Now, we did send a survey. Thank you, Ed, so much. You're just perfect, as everyone says. We love you. Ed got the survey out because this is going to be your conference and we want to get ideas back from the members and we'll use that to incorporate that into our planning. So your ideas will be helpful to Stephen and I for the planning this awesome conference. When you complete this survey and return it by March 15th, your name will be included for a raffle for a terrific prize, not a gift card. Okay, we'll make sure to have a terrific prize for you. Area directors, we are following up with, we'd love for you to follow up with your clubs. And if you have any questions, you can follow up with Steve or myself. We're looking for volunteers and we actually put that on the survey. So this is for tech help, room monitors, PR help, game show hosts, presenters, and more. So all of that will be on the survey. And once our members fill that out and turn it back into us, Stephen and I will follow up with them and start putting together the details of the meeting. We've started some of the details now, of course. We'll fill all that in once we have an idea of what people want, because we want this to be your conference. That's all I have. Are there any questions about what I said so far? Is Stephen here?
Yes, I see him.
Okay, I'm sure Stephen has something to toss in there if he can.
You want to add anything, Steve?
The only thing that I would add is that get the survey back by the 15th, because that's what we really need to plan out how long sessions are going to be, what sessions to have, who's going to volunteer so we can put committees together for PR, for tech, for hosts. We need that information. And so the 15th, getting it back as soon as possible is what we need to have in order to start preparing this conference.
That's
Thanks.
amazing. That's amazing. I am sorry that the slides were going back and forth like crazy. I don't know what's going on, but thank you so much, Sharon. That's great. And I just want to know if are we allowed to tell who the keynote is or not yet? We're going to reveal it later. Sharon and Steve?
Well, I was under the impression that we were going to keep it secret.
Woo! All right. We're not going to reveal it, but let me tell you, it's a huge name, so huge that we cannot tell you, but it is a very, very big name. Okay. So please, as soon as they go on sale, buy them. We don't know the price yet, but we will definitely reveal that big name very shortly.
So can we say that it is a person who is a friend of District 57? We've seen this person before.
I don't know if we've ever seen this person before, honestly. Do you have some idea who it is, Lindy?
Yes, I got a hint yesterday, yes.
Ooh, well, people are giving out hints, evidently. All right, well, if you know that this person is a friend of District 57, that's information that I didn't have. So let me thank you guys. All right, Sharon, thank you so much. I'm going to do one quick plug for the business meeting. And that is the most exciting part of the whole session. Right, Diane and Kevin? Business meetings. Now, my predecessors had to run these. This is the fun of the district director job. And I'm actually really excited about it. I think our fall business meeting was a big hit. We ran it on time and it was great. So the things that are going to happen at the business meeting is we're going to vote on the realignment. So that's why it's really important for you to give feedback to Diane and her team on the realignment now, so that we have that all ready to go for May 1st. Next, we're going to vote on the next set of leaders, which Kevin's about to talk about. The trio, division directors. These are the elected officers in our district. So if you want to run for election, please make sure you're talking to Kevin, because we're getting close to the end of the opening for nominations. Next, we need to have quorum. So please tell your VPEs and presidents and VPs are the voting members, plus all the area directors, division directors, and I believe Ed and Linda, Mona, and did I miss anyone? The trio. We're the voting members. We need to have quorum, okay? We're going to run this a very tight ship. It's going to be a wonderful, exciting, high energetic, fun meeting, right, Ed? That's right. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So make sure you get your team there so we have quorum and we don't have to wait around and try to get people and call people. Let's make this a super fun business meeting. All right. Just like the audit was fun and the finances are fun, we're going to have a fun business meeting. Next up, we're going to go to Kevin, our immediate past district director and my personal mentor. Kevin, talk to us about the DLC. Do you want to share your slides or you want me to share them?
I'd love to share my slides because I'm going to move through quick.
I appreciate that a great deal. You are ready to go.
All right, let's rock and roll. Let's talk about the DLC. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Quick recap, right? Because we've spoken a little bit about this. What do? We find the members, we find the officers, we pull them up into fantastic leadership opportunities, just like people pulled us up to get to where we are, to get to where we are going. And it is going to be such a great year next year. I am so excited. It's not going to be pandemic. It's not going to be, oh, how do I get people to do pathways? It's going to be innovation. It's going to be growth. It's going to be hybrid meetings, returning to in-person, and helping all of our clubs explode and to become bigger and better than they are today. I think next year is going to be fantastic. And we are filling tons of roles, right? We've got elected roles. We've got district director, program quality director. I'm always looking for more candidates for club growth because it is going to be a great year for growth next year. If you want to help our clubs grow and excel, this is the time to step up. We've got a fantastic slate of division directors. I think I'm still looking, potentially one for Division E, but we're going to circle back on that. But it's not just all those elected people over here, right? It's all these appointments over here. We've got tons of area directors, finance managers, and chairs to fill. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit more today. Now, why get involved? Let's just be honest. We are an epic district. all of our guests, our members, our officers, our leaders are experiencing excellence. We are a top 10 district in North America and have been a top district in North America, in the world, for several years now. This is the time to get on board with a winning team, because you're going to build fantastic lifelong relationships. I want everybody in chat, put down the name of somebody you've met, a friendship you've built that has changed your life, that has helped you personally, professionally, somebody you met because you took advantage of this opportunity. That's the only reason you ran into it. Put that person's name in chat, send them a thank you. All right, thank that person, because that's the opportunity to build fantastic relationships. You also build tons of real life skills and competency. MBA in a box, learning all things about strategy. I love how Cindy talked about mastering analytics in the dashboards, right? You can't manage what you can't measure, but it gets you into like motivating people, learning how to recognize success and accomplishments. How do you think on your feet? Find new ways to help people, new ways to solve problems. There are tons of things that you learn. And there's one thing that's not on this list, but is a really valuable leadership skill and competency that you need to develop, and that is succession planning. And so I want to take some time to level you up on succession planning, give you some tips so that you can become an expert on this. I think it's also critical because the reality is, as a leader, it's your job to find your successor. I think it's really part of the responsibility that you have. Now, we're going to talk a little bit how to find Waldo, how to find Wenda, Oddlaw. We're going to talk about how to find your successor. That is one of the best places to start, and who that person is. So who are you looking for, right? If you're a chair right now, if you're an area director right now, if you're a division director right now, who are you looking for? You're looking for your club presidents and your VPs of education. What if they're not a president or VP education? That's okay. All right. We would like them to be members of the district committee. So we look there first, but not a hard requirement. We're looking for people who have excelled and taken advantage of the Pathways program out of Toastmasters University. Awesome job, Lindy, earlier. We're also looking at, hey, who's a coach? Who's a mentor? Who's a club ambassador? Who's serving on our open house teams, on our TLI teams, doing training? Who's helping to lift all of our guests and our members and our leaders up? Those are all fantastic qualities to be looking for in an area director and a committee chair to take over in your place. Now, where can you find these unicorns, these infamous leaders? Well, it's been a busy month, hasn't it? It's been an incredibly busy February. Who in your clubs is getting out of their clubs? Who is participating in all the different programs and opportunities that we have to offer in our district? Who's getting involved in contests, right? Helping to organize, but also competing. I know fantastic people who compete consistently, and they would make fantastic area directors and committee chairs. I also think about, well, who is in a distinguished club? Because somebody who is in a distinguished club, right? Raise your hand if you're in a distinguished club, right? Awesome job, each and every one of you and your teams, right? If they're in a distinguished club, they know how to bring about excellence and how to pull other people up so they can experience excellence as well. So when you're visiting your clubs, right, you can look at, well, has this club been distinguished in the past? Who from this club helped supported our area contests, helped support our division contests, helped supports the district? Those are fantastic people to be pulling up, and that's exactly where you can find them. And guess what? When you are filling out your area visit report, there's a box, and you can write down who you think would be the next best area director. I mean, not as good as you, of course, but the next best after you. All right. So you know who you're looking for. You have some idea where you can find these people. Let's talk about making the ask. And we've all been asked to serve and to step up. And you may have your own idea and you have to figure out your own approach. I'm going to give you a structure, an approach that may work for you. Just like people say, hey, do a hamburger style evaluation. You don't always have to do that. You can make it work for you. All right. Step one. All right. I think you would be fantastic for the public relations manager role because you do such a great job promoting your club on social media and your newsletter. You can take that experience and take our district to the next level. All right. Specificity. Why would they be fantastic for a role? And be specific. You don't need to talk long. Just be specific. All right. Don't just say you would be great for a public relations manager because you're already a VPPR. That's going to fall flat. All right. Be specific. All right. Now, here's kind of an interesting trick that I've learned through somebody who helps people with negotiations. All right. I think you would be fantastic because of all the work that you do promoting your club. Do you disagree? I want you to get the person to think about saying no, rather than them thinking about saying yes. All right. So if you say, I think it would be fantastic for the role, will you do it? You're asking them to say yes. But if you turn it into a no question, do you disagree? They're thinking, well, do I disagree with that? No. Right? So you can change it around a little bit by going for a no, right? Turning into a no question. Something to think about, might be hard to do, but you need to make sure that, hey, they're on board. Now, what's in it for them? I don't want you to be an area director because I need to find a successor. That's going to fall flat. You need to match what's in it for them to the opportunity that's ahead of them. Hey, do you disagree about this? No? Well, what are you trying to learn in Toastmasters right now? What skills are you trying to flex and develop? Right? Oh, you want to meet new people? Oh, you want to learn how to delegate? Oh, you have to do a ton of presentations? Well, guess what? As an area director, you get to visit a ton of clubs to build lifelong relationships, and you have an opportunity to speak and to get outside your club and really flex that skill. All right. You need to match the opportunity to what's in it for them, not what's in it for me, and not what's in it for the district, what's in it for them. Once you've kind of gone through this, right, you said with specificity, hey, you're going to be great at this, and been specific why. You've matched what's in it for them. Then you can say, kind of like we tell people, would you like to join? We would like you to join the club. Will you join? You have to then make that final ask. Will you step up and be the area director? Will you be the open house chair? All right. Then you have earned the right to really make that ask and drive that point home. And then you're home free. You can pass it on to Kevin at d517.org. We will get their paperwork. Or we can give them more information about the role, about the opportunity to make sure it's going to be the right fit for them. That's the carrot, right? The stick is we can help twist arms, right? If you know somebody is going to be the perfect fit for the role and you need a little bit more help, we can absolutely help you with that. We have a fantastic team of leaders on our committee all across the district. We're happy to help. If you have any questions on chat, post it on chat. I'm going to keep an eye on chat for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, I want to make sure we move forwards and keep this meeting on time. Please find your successor because this is an excellent opportunity for them to find their voice and make a difference in the year ahead.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciated that presentation, and that whole do the negative, like make it them say no. Like, do you not agree that you've done a great job as VPM? Oh, what are they going to say? Like, you know what? Actually, I've been terrible. Right. So I really like that. And you learned that at some kind of expensive training, right? That you went to recently? You're on mute.
Okay, everybody take a drink. Yes, I learned it from Chris Voss, who used to be FBI's lead hostage negotiator. All right, so it's not just me making this stuff up. It works. It works. Use it. I'll use it anywhere in your life.
I love it. I love it, Kevin. More value than we expected, as always. And now, with even more value, Julie Garrett is going to talk to us about renewals. Renewals today. I know that Abe was showing numbers from February, and people were like trying to put in like, oh, is this where we are? Julie, where are we today on renewals?
I'm glad you asked me that question, because this morning I did spend some time in figuring that out. And believe it or not, right now we are at 48 renewals. These are clubs that have hit the minimum 8, so they are in good standing, and their members can continue on with speech contests. We have another 25 clubs that are close to getting there. They just need a couple more members to renew. And I want to ask a question. Does anyone know what the deadline is for renewing? It's a trick question. Let's see, anyone?
March 31st.
April 10th?
It is March 31st, not April 1st. April 1st, you lose access to base camp if you have not renewed. So it's very important you get those renewals in by March 31st. Now, anyone out there kind of curious about which clubs have hit that, where your clubs are? There is this super secret report that I can show you. I've been given special permission to show you this report. So I'm going to share my screen right now. All right, does everyone see this screen?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to notice one thing right here. I am not logged in, but I'm still click on Leadership Central here. I'm going to go to the Distinguished Performance Reports. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click on District 57. I know it's getting a little complicated here, but over here on the left-hand side, you see where it says Daily Reports? Click there. And you go to the April dues renewal status. Once we're on this page and it actually finishes loading, you can click on the titles up here. And I'm going to click on renewal status because I want to have everything sorted. So you can see all the verified complete clubs here and what date they paid the 8th due. And there's quite a few. There's actually 48 clubs on there. And then we have our low minimum requirement. These are the people the clubs that just have a few more people they need. And then we have our ineligible and renewals not here. These are the clubs that have some work to do. And it may just be a matter of the treasurer not putting in the dues until the very last minute. And that does happen. The great thing about this report too, is you can actually copy and paste this into an Excel format. It is formatted for that. And you can dig a little deeper, which is what I do in order to get these numbers. And everybody has access to this report. As you noticed, I didn't log in, just went right there. Okay, so we're going to stop the share. Oops. Sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. I'm good at that. Anyway, does anyone have any questions on that report? Because that is a great report. It's available to everyone. You don't have to be signed in. You don't have to be an officer. And it will let you know exactly where your clubs are. Any questions? Okay, I realize I did not go a full 5 minutes, Bet. I would like to give a few minutes back to the next speaker so they can go a little bit longer.
I will forgive you this one time, Julie, but I thank you so much, Julie. We are doing so well. And I am so proud of the team. And it's really incentives. When you are thinking about anything you're doing in your life, you got to think about the incentives. What are people incentivized to do? And make sure that you're really focused on that. It's the thing I've learned most, which you guys, it will be in my book when I write it at the end of this term. So thank you so much, Julie. The team is doing great. And I'm going to now go over to Bill Holsley, who will be talking to us about this incredibly innovative program called the Ambassador, and also Ashley is joining him to talk about the coaching program. Do you want me to share the slides, or do you want to share them?
Would you mind sharing the slides?
I will share them right now.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
Bill
much.
Holsley. Woo!
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It is my pleasure to tell you about the Club Ambassador program. Could you please advance to the first slide? Now, what is a club ambassador? Well, they are knights in shining armor, literally. And I want to tell you why we even have a club ambassador. Well, club ambassadors are here to help struggling clubs that have more than 12 members, but let's suppose their DCP is only 0, 1, and 2. So what do we do with those clubs and work with those clubs to help them before they slip into the abyss where then, oh, now they need a coach? Well, that's what club ambassadors are for. And club ambassadors, it's a win-win. They can work with those struggling clubs, and they also can count their work towards a level 4 or level 5 project in Pathways. Now, how good is that? Win-win. You're helping the club, and the person is getting a credit towards a fantastic project in Pathways. Now, the goal for club ambassadors is to bring up a club by a minimum of 2 points before June. 2 DCP points. 2 DCP points. That is the basic goal of what club ambassadors are about. Next slide, please. We are doing a great job with our club ambassadors. We've had great success so far, and the process is working. I'm here to tell you. Now let's talk about why. It's why because we have club ambassadors who are voracious. They have a hunger to help out these clubs, but more importantly, they're working from a very humble perspective. They're not coming in as the expert. They're coming in as someone, here's a fresh pair of eyes to look at what's going on with the club. Maybe I might use the club success plan. Maybe I might look at moments of truth. Maybe I'll talk to the club leaders and try to assimilate with the club and help them to galvanize and get their club points up, which is important. Look at the success so far. We have 12 club ambassadors assigned, and of those 12, 7 clubs so far have increased their points in DCP by at least 1. At least 1. That's very good. Yes.
We'll take it.
Process is working. I want to give special recognition to one rock star, and I mean that rock star club ambassador, and the gentleman's name is Martin Galvanese. He has been working with 3 clubs. First of all, he took on 3 clubs, which is more than any other club ambassador. Of those 3 clubs, 1 is increased by at least 2 points, and of those other 2, which are Laugh Lovers and Oakland Uptown, their club DCP has gone from a 2 to an 8 since he has been working with those clubs. 2 to an 8. Come on. That's fantastic. So Martin is a rock star, and we're going to recognize him at our spring conference, along with the other rock star club ambassadors. So I just want to say one last thing before I turn over to Ashley to talk about coaching. We're still looking for 7 more club ambassadors. If you have leads of voracious, top-notch rock star Toastmasters who want to get in and work with these clubs, but more importantly, count it towards a level 4 or 5 project in Pathways, let me know, reach out to me, and let's get those folks on board with the Club Ambassador Program. Now I'd like to turn over to Ashley to talk about club coaching.
Hey, can we have the next slide, please? All right. The question is, where do you find the club coaches? And the answer is really just like what Kevin Markle was talking about. You look at your clubs. Who in there wants to attain a DTM award? And they're looking for a new challenge. You know, it's the director's job to go into those clubs on a fairly regular basis and make the ask. To be a coach, you just have to be asked a couple of times and then tell them, look, this is not so tough. It can be done. But people need to know something else, that there are two critical paths here. Would you please, that affect this club coaching business? Would you please give the next slide? First of all, if you're headed towards a DTM and who isn't, you need to know that there is a requirement to either mentor a new club or be a club coach. You have to get that completed. It's been confusing to a lot of people to whether they really need to do a club coach or what's the deal on that and where does it impact you? Well, it's right there in the application for a distinguished Toastmaster. Another thing is, wow, I've had people say there's no time left. That's simply not true. If you were to think between now and 30th of June, you could complete a club coach because let's face it, getting them to distinguished, the issue is going to be certainly the membership. That's usually the big problem in the coaches that are the clubs that are weak. But there are lots of people in the divisions and in the areas that would be more than willing to help. And finding out how to make it work today in this environment of COVID is something very important. Remember, there's still thousands of people out in our areas who need communication and leadership training. Those needs didn't go away just because we're all staying home, you know, running around with the kids and doing the schools in the house. Set yourself up for a 30, 60, 90-day planning period to get going, maybe 120 days if you really need it. And look at it. Talk to the people about their open houses. Are they advertising? And then between now and the 30th of June, make sure you do a couple of things that you need to. First of all, look for the successor as a director. Of course, you've heard that. But basically brief that successor on what you've been doing for the week clubs. Don't just let them walk in and ask the same questions. What's going on? And who are your coaches? I'll bet you have a few already active and they can tell you what's going on. When you are working for the coaches, make sure that you do your director's visits and include the questions. Talk up councils, area and division councils, talk up the possibility of what coaches can do. That's your direct application right in the club. When you get done, directors, and you make your report, don't forget to highlight the people who were there for district service. Send in their names because that can happen to get it to the hands of the directors next year. And with that, coaching goes on and on and on. And there we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was cheering so much during that presentation, I had to put myself on mute. I think I am a little too enthusiastic here. So thank you so much. This was great. We only have one more thing that's going to happen today, and that is the breakouts. The breakouts are going to happen. Now, Ed, can you talk to us about the process around breaking out?
Yes, there are 9 breakout rooms, A through I. Go to, if you're in Division B, for example, look for the breakout room called Division B and put yourself in there. Does that make sense?
How do we find it? Where do we
It should be at the bottom of your screen at the moment. And people are putting themselves into breakout rooms at the moment. If you do not have the 4 squares, 2 and 2, at the bottom of your screen, and I can see many people are putting themselves in, but if you don't have that, then
let us know.
Chat with me. Yes, let
we
some
can
of us know.
I've got it. Thank you. I needed to make my screen bigger.
And if you, yeah, basically you can go to any breakout room. If you're a chair, just go whichever one you want to. It's all there for you. All right, we have 25 people left. So people go ahead and go to breakout rooms.
Silly question, Ed. How do you, I see the listing of them all. How do you put yourself in?
Click on join.
There's a little button that says how many people are in it. You hover over that and click join.
Let's see the button.
See how it says Division C, we're at one person? Oh,
There will be names at the top. You may have to draw it down. You know, there are names in Division A, for example. You may have to go to.
I don't see a button to join. That's the thing.
okay, I can send you there.
Yeah.
Where would that button be?
It's really not a button, it's like a link. It's a blue one for Division C. Dennis is over there by himself.
Yeah, I see.
That's right.
I'm gonna assign you to Division
Yeah,
C.
thanks.
Okay.
A
Enjoy.
blue item that says join, but we can put you wherever you want.
All right, Raul, do you need help? Or Drew? JC? I'm gonna go ahead and just drop people in places.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Hey, Beth.
Hey.
Yes, Beth, you just called my name.
You're still here, so we gotta
Yes.
move you. We gotta move you, JC.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Actually, it says, just click the join button, JC.
Yes, yeah, let me do
All
that.
right.
now.
See you later. All right, I see Mark.
Yeah, just I just have a question. I don't have the areas, but so just to confirm, I know I bugged the ants last night. So we really need to, for the division contest, we really need to offer an opportunity to the second place winners of the area contest to participate in the division contest.
All right, so you're asking a specific question around contests right now.
Yeah. So for the division contest, Hans, was saying that we cannot just say that the winners of the year.
And that concludes the DECM for March. See you next month.